So I'm in for a pretty busy morning. I'm recording this audio on the morning of Sunday, May 2nd, 2025. It's actually 3:48 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, guess who was supposed to go out there and pre-record some videos for the morning because I got plans and then a hockey game myself that I'm going to be playing, but was not able to find any actual topics. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to dive into Elliotte Friedman'S non-update update on the Vancouver Canucks, that in which he had shared during yesterday's Saturday Headlines segment on Sportsnet. As always, this show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. Yeah, it's a busy tournament weekend for me and my hockey league, so I am trying to piece everything together properly, and this show is going to take a little bit of a hit because I am doing some stuff in the morning. I'm heading out to Surrey and Langley, folks, so that's going to be fun. But in this video, I wanted to dive into Elliotte Friedman'S non-update update when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks. Because during Saturday Headlines, he ended up having a segment on Vancouver, and like myself, many Vancouver Canucks fans were super eager to hear what the latest scoop was going to be on this team. And I'm sorry, I absolutely love Elliotte Friedman to death. I've grown up with this guy, really. I mean, he was one of the main dudes during the Stanley Cup Finals in 2011, and that was when I started watching hockey, and we've seen him really have a significant role in the hockey media reporting world over the past few years. But man, was this update lousy. Let's go out there and read the Vancouver Canucks News Summary's Twitter post about Elliotte Friedman's Saturday Headlines on Vancouver. Not really anything new from Friedman's Saturday Headlines about the Canucks. Here are your 4 notes that you need to know. Friedman, firstly, does not see Elias Pettersson getting traded. Number 2, the Canucks want to add a forward. Number 3, everything is possible with Brock Boeser. And number 4, the team doesn't want to weaken themselves because the playoffs is the goal. And this was being kind of hyped up for a few minutes on social media. I saw, hey, Elliotte Friedman's going to talk about the Canucks. Oh, let's all gather around the TV. Hear ye, hear ye. We're going to hear some more information about the Canucks. And who knows, man, by the time this video is uploaded, maybe there's going to be a trade or something that we're going to have to talk about. Maybe there is some extra information. If so, then I'll talk about it later. You know, that's the good thing about doing YouTube. You don't have to make the videos right away. You can wait a little bit, but I am busy this morning, so we'll talk about it later. But assuming the Vancouver Canucks don't go out there and make any sort of an immediate trade right now, none of this stuff is really new, isn't it? None of this stuff is really news, plural, isn't it? Pettersson unlikely to get traded. Anything is possible with Boeser. The Canucks want to add a forward and they don't want to weaken their team because the playoffs is the goal. This is where we dive into some of the whys, because there are a lot of Canucks fans that are responding to this and debating whether or not this thought process is the right way to go about it. Elias Pettersson is not going to get moved, or at least Friedman thinks it's unlikely. He said on the broadcast, oh, we hear about anything can change with a phone call, but in his opinion, he really doesn't think that Pettersson's going to get moved. Is that the right way to go about it? I mean, I think in the long run, it's easier to make a bet and say that Elias Pettersson will become an 80, 85, a 90 even point guy maybe one more time or 2 more times in his career. Right? Right? Is that a better bet to make than Pettersson totally sucking for the rest of his contract and maxing out as a 30, 40, 50-point guy for the remainder of his $11.6 million AAV deal? Like, I know we had spoken about the Farhan Lalji comments a few days ago where he said that he thinks that at some point the Pettersson contract will be bought out, but the question is when and with which team? But is it not idealistic, if not maybe even a tad delusional, to think about Elias Pettersson eventually becoming back to being a superstar? May not happen this year, may not happen next year, It may take a few years for him to fully get back into a spot where he's comfortable to shoot and to move and to actually create things offensively. Is that more likely, or is it more likely that Pettersson is playing some of the worst hockey of his career and he just regresses to being somewhere in the middle? He becomes a 50, 55, 60-point guy, making $11.6 million a year. Or is it more likely that Pettersson continues to decline, and he continues to get worse, and people start comparing him to Louis Eriksson, because that's a conversation that I've been seeing a lot over the past few days. Oh, at least Louis was only making $6 million, but Pettersson's making double that. Like, I don't know. There's really a lot of thought going into this player and this situation from the fan base, that the idea that Pettersson is just straight up not going to get traded at all, they're going to keep on holding it out and hoping that a guy who was a 100-point player at the National Hockey League level at the ripe old age of 24, whatever it was, like, are they just gonna pretend that that's still the same guy? Like, I don't think we've done a good enough job on this YouTube channel in particular talking about how rare it is to see somebody of that profile and stature and point production capability. It's so rare. I don't think it's ever happened before where a guy who produces that much at that young of an age does not go on to being a superstar player, a first ballot Hall of Fame caliber guy. None of these guys who have ever done that in the past, who have produced like Pettersson had in his early parts of his career, none of those players have ever busted. But Pettersson is looking like he's busting. And I would say that it's because, oh, he's not scoring. Like, oh yeah, okay, he's on pace for 50 points on the year. The guy is not creating anything. And we're seeing all of the isolated statistical timelines. Oh, if you go back to January and you look at January to now in 2025, the guy's playing at a 30-point pace, which is ridiculously bad. So gosh darn bad. I can't even begin to articulate how bad it is to see a guy go from what he was to what he is right now. And I know it's probably a decent bet to say that he's going to get back to being good, but just, is that really going to happen? I don't know. Maybe long-term thinking is the move here, and thinking about profiles and talent and Jonathan Huberdeau and stuff like that. Is he still going to slowly work his way back up in Calgary because he stunk in his first season? Is Elias Pettersson having his Jonathan Huberdeau year without even moving teams yet? Who knows? So Pettersson sticking around, I think that conversation is really, really interesting. I think the Brock Boeser talk is so bare bones. I mean, Friedman's update was essentially saying that both sides, the Boeser camp and the Canucks camp, they both believe that all options are possible. And it's like, okay, yeah, of course all options are possible. You re-sign him, you let him walk, or you trade him. It's one of those three, and the guy isn't signed yet, so literally they are all potential options here. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to keep up with the Brock Boeser story. And again, if this video is uploaded and Brock Boeser is already traded, then we'll make another video talking about whatever it was the Canucks received in exchange for Brock, because at this point it's like, hey, the team needs goals. They need goal scoring. They need defensive play. Brock Boeser's supposed to bring that, and he didn't really do that the past little while, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Elliotte Friedman's non-update update on the Vancouver Canucks and their trade situation. I'm just going to keep on calling it a non-update update, but leave trade update in the title just because it's not necessarily wrong. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Elliotte Friedman and this discussion on the Canucks. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.